What's really really interesting about what you're doing is you're completely taking control of your own destiny through your own distribution. I see so many other filmmakers, they get exhausted by the process of making the film that they just give it to a distributor just so they don't even have to think about it. They're so exhausted.
Oh, I can emphasise with that. It's bloody knackering. I mean, I haven't slept for 5 years. I've lost so much weight. I used to be twice the size. But, you know, because it was myself and my wife funding the film together, myself and Pamela, there she is, that's Pamela, who stars in the film. Because we were funding the film together, of course, every day at home I've got my wife nagging me, when are we going to get our money back?
Right.
So you can't ignore that.
Right. We're running this workshop on May the 8th and 9th about distribution in 2010. And one of the things that John Rice, who's one of the guys involved, talks about is a new position he believes should be filled called the PMD. Which is the producer of marketing and distribution.
Oh,
and it's
that's so needed, yeah.
Somebody who takes on that role, who's not necessarily even into films and filmmaking, but just gets social media and the internet and technology, and because it is a full-time job.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty much spending my life now. I mean, you know, as you say, I work as a background artist in films, which is phenomenally long hours. You don't get evenings, you don't get weekends when you're a background artist. So within the little time that I do have at home, I'm just perpetually on the social media, tweeting, Facebook, sending out the press releases, and that in itself is a full-time job.
Right.
Yeah, that's a position that is needed, the social media.
Right. Okay.
It's really getting in the way of me being able to do the bigger marketing things.
Yeah. So Pete, let's come to you. Have we had any great questions from the chat room?
We've had a few. As always, questions about the budget. What was your budget like?
Well, we talked about that. That was 35,000.
35,000, although it must be said, because we did that on credit cards, it grew pretty scary.
2.7 million now.
Not far off at all, yeah. But I mean, so this is one of the things that's been taking so long for us to get the NTSC American version out, is because we just didn't have the money. You know, it cost us. Forget making the film, it cost us $3,000 to get the PAL DVD done. You know, $1,000 to get it through the British Board of Film Certification, $2,000 to get a couple of thousand copies made up. So it took us a long time to get the money together for the NTSC version. What the original plan was that we would use the Amazon Create Space service to do the NTSC version.
Yeah.
Because for that, there's no money up front, which sounds ideal. So that was our big plan, and we were sort of going full throttle for this, but there were a lot of technical problems that had to be resolved, and it just got slow and it got really bogged down, and then we realised right at the last minute, just as we were signing up, that there's an enormous amount of forms you got to fill out just to do with the American tax department.
Right.
Because, of course,
Amazon
selling an NTSC DVD on Amazon, you can't do that through Amazon Co. UK.
Right.
You've got to go to Amazon.com in the States.
Right.
Which means you're earning money in the States, which means you need a tax reference number in the States, which means you've got to do your annual returns for the States. And I don't know about you, but I hate doing my British
life is too short.
Yeah. So in the end, we're making the NTSC ones here and selling them from here. It's just so much easier.
Any other questions, Pete?
Yeah, people want to know what you're up to next. Are you working on anything new at the moment?
The cliche of all. What's next? Vampires of Bloody Island 2?
Oh, why does everyone always demand a sequel? Well, yeah, buy the first film. Let me know if you want a sequel. We've actually got quite a few things that we're working on. I mean, basically, this took us 6 years to do. From the original concept of writing the script, through shooting it, through editing it, through marketing it, through manufacturing it, all of this we've handled ourselves. So, you know, we're burnt out from 6 years on one project. I mean, it's a great project to have been involved in. I'm glad we chose a vampire comedy because it's really kept us lively through it.
Right.
But yeah, we've got a need now just to do something really quick. So 3 projects we got that we're burning with at the moment. One is a vaudeville history documentary. Again, very, very niche thing, very, very different. Because I got a background in circus. I was originally trained at circus school before I went to drama school. And we've got hold of a lot of 100-year-old vaudeville footage, which is just phenomenally entertaining.
Right.
So we're just linking that together. That's a very quick documentary project that we can get out, and that will be out by the end of this year, and it'd just be so nice to have something done quickly.
Yeah.
But beyond that, we've got 2 features that we're kind of pushing forward at the same time, depending on quite how the budget goes.
Right.
We've got a low-budget sci-fi comedy and a higher-budget thriller. We're kind of don't know which one we're doing yet. It depends on whether we get money coming in, because I don't really want to go putting the credit cards into it again. That was a pretty scary place to be.
Yeah.
But ultimately, I'm so glad that we did that.
Okay. Final question, Pete. Anything? Or should I go to my final question? Okay, so
what's your final
my
question,
final
Chris?
question, I asked this to everybody, what advice would you offer a new filmmaker if you had 1 minute to tell them anything you could about anything at all?
Don't use your credit cards. It seemed a great idea at the time. I mean, it enabled us to get the film kick-started, and, you know, I guess if we didn't use the credit cards, would we have started the film? I don't know.
Yeah.
But with hindsight of having lived in poverty for 5 years as a result of this, we're only just getting the money back now, which is thank God for that.
Yeah.
It would have, you know, but as I say, we did get some funding later once the process was started and people could see what we're doing, and they were getting fired up by this vampire project that really does attract a lot of attention. So, yeah, I think we should have just held out a little bit longer and try to get a bit more funding rather than going straight in with the credit cards.
Right. Okay. Well, listen, thank you so much for coming to speak with us. Everybody knows exactly where to go to get your film. We've got one here as well.
We do have one here, and let me just show you again. So on Twitter, Allin Tweets, that's where you'll find me. Okay, there we go, Allin Tweets. On the web, www.wibble.co.uk. That's our DVD company, The Weird World of Wibble. And one more very important note, when you're there, the most important thing you can do if you want to learn anything about what I've been talking about is this.
There you go.
There you go. There's the DVD, The Vampires of Bloody Island.
So this one is for the competition, isn't it? So
I've got a signed copy in my bag.
Okay,
I'll give you a signed
fantastic.
copy, yeah.